Live from the House of LeMay Makeup and Dressing Room.
Here comes Amber. Stop what you're doing. Here comes Amber. She's just doing what she can. Here comes Amber. Cue the spotlight. Here comes Amber with 2 drinks in her hand. The matriarch of fashion, secrets to her glasses, you can't look away. Ask her, does she do it? There's really nothing to it. She's got that feminine game. If you have a party, or if you're feeling naughty, call up the House of LeMay. Here comes your favorite gal. Here comes your queen. Here comes the talk of town. And we're live tonight. The music starts playing. It's time for cabareting. And we're live tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn off all cell phones and get ready for your host, Amber LeMay.
We like to party. We like to party. We like to party. We like to party. We like to party.
Having some fun
under the boardwalk.
People walking above
Under the boardwalk.
We'll be making love
Under the boardwalk.
Throughout the land and across the sea, that Amber LeMay has arrived for a carnival in Provincetown. Let freedom ring, and may God save the queens. That's me.
Hi there, Amber LeMay here, welcoming you to Amber Live. But first, I want you to like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much. Now, what do Skittles, sex toys, and pole dancers have in common? They're all a part of this week's news briefs. Tristan Statina, 19, is behind bars following an unprovoked attack on restaurant patrons and employees. His weapon of choice? Skittles. Police said that when they arrived at the Mankato, Minnesota restaurant, they noted Skittles all over the ground and a bag of Skittles near the garbage. One victim reported having been hit so hard that she felt a stinging pain in her back area. Victims said the assailant had a heart-shaped tattoo under his eye, and authorities were able to identify the suspect, who already had been arrested in recent months. In May, he was arrested for possession of LSD and marijuana. As officers were placing handcuffs on him, he pulled away and attempted to break free from the officer's control. The probable cause statement read, Statina then wrapped his leg around Officer Gilbertson in an attempt to trip him. It took a total of 3 officers to subdue him. He was charged with a misdemeanor for the Skittles assault, as well as for disorderly conduct and resisting police, and is looking at over a year in the slammer. Just because we haven't mentioned the antics of Florida Man lately doesn't mean they've disappeared. 2 weeks ago, David Romero was busted for stealing from a Palm Coast, Florida Target store. While assisting him into the police car, a small pink vibrator fell out of Romero's pants. A search for Romero's truck turned up an assortment of other stolen goods, including Trojan and Skin condoms, Hello Cake lubricant, and Promisant, a climax control spray. When asked about the Target merchandise, Romero claimed that the items had been in his vehicle for days, and he further stated that he was going to use those items on his wife because he was working all day yesterday and he could not celebrate Father's Day with her. What a guy. The backlash against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has begun. Multiple federal court decisions have frozen key portions of his campaign against LGBTQ rights in recent weeks. Not only are the courts fighting back, but pole dancers as well. Yes, I said pole dancers. The International Pole Convention, known as PoleCon, was scheduled to hold their annual get-together next year in Orlando. But they have decided to relocate the annual event because attendees will include people of various genders and ages, including youth performers and children attending with their parents, and some attendees will be in drag. It's just too risky to go to Florida, Colleen Jolie, the CEO of PoleCon, said. At this point, I'm signing contracts 1 year in advance. What kind of shenanigans are going to be happening there by then? Shenanigans, indeed. More people need to take a stance against these barbaric laws before they take hold in other states. And that's this week's News Briefs. Russell, come on in.
Hey, Amber, how are ya?
Oh, I'm doing fine. You know, tonight's show is all about Provincetown, and as much as I'm looking forward to our trip there in August, I don't want to wish the summer away.
It goes by fast, and unfortunately, especially for those of you living further north, by the time you get through August, then it's like things are starting to change.
Yes, but we're looking forward to it. So, but I know a lot of people are watching the show tonight who haven't seen it before. So what's the best way to watch?
Well, the best way to watch is on youtube.com/Amber Live. And there's a couple of great reasons for that. One is because then you see the show in full HD, which is the way you want to watch Amber. And then all your friends are probably in the chat room on YouTube, and you want to be able to go in there and chat with them, chat with us, talk about the show, talk about what you had for dinner, whatever it is. We want to hear from you. I also want to remind people to go check out our TikTok, our Instagram, and our Facebook pages that are all very active. We're always putting up new material, and we have a great website, amberlive.tv, and there's some great new products that are coming up. I can't say what yet, but they're coming soon on there. So keep your eyes open, and we'll be sure to let you know so you can go get them when they're ready.
And podcast. People have told me they've been listening to our podcasts.
Yeah, you can listen to the podcast just about anywhere. And what happens is I don't do the whole show as a podcast. I just do the interviews with our guests, and I put them out as individual podcasts. So you can go listen to your favorite interviews, and you can hear Amber just about anywhere. So it's out there. Amber's everywhere.
It's out there. And one more thing to talk about, Russell.
Well, you know my favorite, the bustiers. We do love our bustiers. They're a huge help. And I put one in red there because our good friend Scott House, who has contributed before, upped his donation for the year and sent us another donation, and we love that. Thank you, Scott. So everyone out there who's already on the list, please think about adding a little bit to your donation, helping us out. You can use that Venmo at RJD Pro, or you can go to amberlive.tv and look for the donate button to support Amber Live. And if you haven't given before, you can start now, because Amber Live takes a lot to keep this thing running. Believe it or not, it's hard to keep it on the rails, and there are bills coming in all the time. So feel free to donate.
It's nice to see Scott's name up there again. He's a regular contributor on our Amber chat and our Sunday night shows. And he also sends us some things via email that we've used before on the show. So Thank you very much, Scott.
He lets us know what's going on in the world.
Okay, Russell, I want you to let us know who the guests are tonight.
Oh, my goodness. guest. We have some of our favorite guests tonight. We really do. We have Miss Richfield 1981 because she's performing in Ptown this summer. What a shocker. She never does that.
Her 21st year. It's her 21st year.
Oh my goodness. It's hard to believe she's old enough to have 21 years in there. And then her friend and protege, Miss Conception, is going to be on the show to talk about what she's doing in Provincetown this summer. And not only are the two of them talking about Provincetown, but they're going to give us a preview on where you can find them after Provincetown as well. And then we have a returning guest who has been in Provincetown before, but we've never had her on the show for Provincetown. We've had her on for the Golden Gals, but now she's talking about how hard she's working this summer doing a great show, and that's Ginger Minj. And she gives an amazing interview, so you aren't going to want to miss a minute of this show.
And if you're a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars, she's got some opinions about what's going on this year.
Oh, does she have opinions?
All right, Russell, let's get to that first interview with Miss Richfield. Our next guest doesn't really need an introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. The one, the only, Miss Richfield. Come on in.
Hey, hi, Amber. How are you?
I'm doing
Criminy. There you are. I'm looking for you. Oh, there you are. I'm all rainbowed up, girlfriend. I'm celebrating Pride. Woo!
Good for you. So you're in Provincetown for the summer. Again, how many years have you been in Provincetown?
21. This is my 21st season. I started when I was 8. So do
Yes.
the math. Do the math, sweetheart, or have Russell do the math. Yeah. Isn't that wild? 21 years.
And then they want you back every year.
They want me back. You know, it is like such a blessing. And I say that, and I just don't say that lightly. And the older I get, the more serious I am about how fortunate we are, those of us that have gigs and, you know, because there's a lot of really talented, amazing people sitting behind computers, you know, doing their work that would love to do what we do, but they're not as attractive as we are.
I get you there. So before we talk about this year in Ptown, where have you been since last year in Ptown? I know you've been traveling.
I have. I've had such a great time. I got to go, I travel with Atlantis Events. And so I always do we do a week in the Dominican Republic and a week in Cancun, which is amazing. Those are resorts. And then I get to go on some cruises. And so I'm trying to think of where we went this year. We didn't go anything too exotic. We're actually going to be going to Asia in the fall, which will be really amazing. But we, did beautiful things, did a cruise out of LA and a cruise out of Fort Lauderdale, and just some really wonderful, wonderful times, and, just fortunate to be traveling. And then I went to New York. I always do New York, and I think I did DC. And what else did I do this year? Did a bunch of different things. I'm very lucky. I keep busy.
Okay, yes, you do. Tell us about your show. Tell us about your show this year.
Well, this year I'm so excited. It's called Bad Advice, and I just absolutely having the best time with it. And it's just like the little tagline says, good advice is often annoying, and bad advice never is. Bad advice is fun, right? And so we talk a little bit about that, and the show is really based on some of the bad advice I've received over the years, and then some of the good advice that I have handed out. And we talk about that, and we talk about kind of some current stuff that's going on, because my goodness sakes, such an important time to be reminding people, wear your rainbow, whether you're in the community or you're an ally. We need everybody in their rainbow garb, because it's just a crazy time. Who would have thought we'd be fighting the battles we're fighting? It's crazy.
We're back in the 50s. We're back in the 50s sometimes.
Yeah. Or at least some of our adversaries are back in the 50s at least.
One of the parts I love about your shows is the audience participation. What do you have planned for the audience this year?
Well, I have a little exercise that I do, and I won't tell you the secret of it, but I always have a little game or an exercise or something to do. And this one addresses the South and all of the stuff that's going on with the drag community. You know, these I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's where guys dress up in women's clothes. I mean, I don't understand it, nor do I necessarily really agree with it. But, you know, people are happy. You know, I think it's a cry for help personally. But I do say that I address that in a little activity that I think is super fun. And it talks a little bit about, you know, some of the bad advice that people have gotten down south, because, you know, there's a lot of really good people down south. And I think even some of the people who are coming up with some of these laws and some of these crazy rules are probably not bad people. I think they've gotten some bad advice. And so we talk a little bit about that in this little activity that I have, and everybody's involved. Everybody gets a chance to be involved.
Do you have a new video or two in the show?
Well, one of the videos I have is the main video that I'm so excited about in the middle of the show was one that I had used 8 years ago, and I loved it. And when I was thinking about the show, I thought that would be a perfect video. And I never have gotten an old video and used it in the show. And I thought this one would be great. It involves my mother. Oh. And, you know, I lost my mother like 3 years ago, right before COVID, actually, she passed away. And so it's fun to use that video again. And it's kind of like seeing my mom every night, you know, which is super fun. And then, of course, there's Lewis.
Hi, Lewis.
Just had dinner, didn't you, bud?
Did he have some wieners? Did he have some? You know
what he's looking for? Well, whenever I'm on the computer, I usually have treats under the computer. That's why he's looking underneath there, right, buddy? And I do not have anything under there right now. Mommy put all of the things away, but he just had dinner, you know. But he could eat again, like me.
How about music? What song are you singing in your show this year?
Well, I have a great song that I sing this year that is based on an Alan Sherman song. And Alan Sherman, for your viewers who may not know, was popular in the 60s. And if you ever heard the song Hello Mutta, Hello Fata, that was Alan Sherman. And that's kind of the most famous song. But he did a lot of different songs. And he had a song called Good Advice that I use for bad advice. So that's one of the songs I use. I also use a great Glenn Campbell song that I love. And then I have some other music too.
Which song of Glenn Campbell's?
It's a secret. It's a secret. It's a surprise at the end of the show. So now you have to come and see the show.
Okay, I will.
which I think you've seen every show for like the last, how many years have we known each other? It hasn't been all 21 years.
No, I think 12 years, but Lucy Bell, I think, has seen all of your shows. I've only seen the last 12. So, yes.
Really? Has it been 12 years that you've been coming to Ptown? Oh, so you didn't come before that?
No. Girls got to make some coin. You know, that's... it's not cheap. It's not cheap to spend a week down there.
It isn't, but you guys have figured it out because you share a house, right? And that's really one of the more economical ways to actually... With
a great group of people, a great group of guys.
You have a great group of friends.
So have you seen anything happening down in Provincetown, anti-gay or anything like that?
No. You know, that has been a really good question and good thing about Ptown so far is we've kind of avoided that. There hasn't been any... pushback. You know, we had Pride. We celebrate Pride here, which is ridiculous because Pride is, you know, every day in Ptown. But we did a weekend. The first weekend in June is kind of a slow weekend, and so we think they chose that for Pride just to kind of encourage people to come and visit. And it's early enough that it doesn't interfere with any other prides. But we didn't have any problems. We didn't have anyone take any signs down or anything like that. So I'm hoping the rest of the summer, you know, knocking on wood, hoping that we can get through the rest of the summer without any problems. I know they take careful measures, you know, when there's big gatherings like at Carnival and things like that. I know they were very careful last year.
Yes.
And I'm sure they'll be careful this year. You know, if there's any threats or anything like that, they take it seriously. So you really feel safe. You know, there's enough police presence and roads are blocked off and things like that. So they do a really nice job, I think, of not overreacting. So you feel like you're in a military state, but yet you feel safe. You know, you feel like there's enough people to protect you.
What do you see some of the biggest changes you've seen in Provincetown over the past 21 years?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of people feel like it's gotten more straight. I don't really feel that way. It ebbs and flows. It does ebb and flow. And so there's years where it feels like there's more younger people, years where there aren't as many younger people. It's just fascinating to watch. Years where it seems like more women, more men, more, the number of cats is relatively the same, fortunately, but that's why he has nothing to say. He has no comments on that. But I will say that I just encourage gay people to keep coming, because that's the only way it is going to stay gay. But I also encourage people to embrace the fact that we're all together. And in Ptown is the only place, and I love Rehoboth Beach, and I love Palm Springs, and I love Key West, and I love San Francisco, and I can't even tell you how much I love all these different places, and I get to go to all these different places. But Provincetown is the only place where everybody is everywhere. Like, all the gay people and all the straight people hang out everywhere. And so there really isn't a neighborhood or a street or, there is a, gay beach where the boys are and things like that. But there's gay boys at the pool. There's gay boys, you can find gay boys all over the place. So you don't have to go to that gay beach. You and your lover can go to any beach and hold hands and bring your cooler and sit down, and people will chat with you, and there's kids around you and everything else. It's just wonderful. It's the way it should be. So I always encourage people, like, don't be discouraged that, we have some straight people. It's great. It's wonderful. We mix together. It's wonderful. It's the way the world should be. So,
if someone's coming to Provincetown for the first time, what would you tell them to do? Where would they go? What should they experience?
there is so much to do. There's so much to do. And in some cases, I look at that and I think to myself, there's so many things I didn't do for so many years that I wish I had done. And some of them are kind of more, they're not expensive, but they're more things you sort of have to plan. Like, I love the whale watch. You got to go on a whale watch.
Yep.
I love the dune tours.
Yep,
Dune tours, and the dune tours are really cheap. That is not an expensive ticket at all. It's a really reasonable ticket. There we go. There's Lewis again. So, Lewis, you got to fit into the screen here. There we are. There we go. So it's been real. Good Lord. It's been, hello. Lord. Hello. I'm still here. So anyway, the other thing I would do that I really encourage people to do is to go to the museum. And you get to the museum by going to the monument. And the monument is cool, but quite honestly, like, that's fine. You don't have to go up in the monument. You can. I don't think it's that spectacular. It only takes like 7 minutes or 5 minutes to get up there. It's pretty quick. But just being on the grounds up there is so pretty. It's up high and you can see the whole town. It's beautiful. And the museum's very interesting. They just redid it a few years ago. Such a good museum. Then you can get through it in 20 minutes. You can see everything you need to see. And so just do a quick loop through there. These are all things whale watch, dune tour, museum, and then just, I don't know, just like walking up and down the streets and especially later in the evening when the queens are out, everyone's out advertising their shows and there's just so many wonderful places to eat, just look around and a lot of these places to eat you can't even see hardly, like Front Street and some of these places that they're just like a little sign outside. You kind of have to know. So that's another thing is ask local people where their favorite restaurant is, or the bike trails. I almost forgot, the bike trails are great too. Anyway, there's just a million things to do. Go to the beach. Go. There's just so much to do. You could come 5 years and do something different every year.
That's for sure. Have you seen, are we back from COVID?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think so. And it's actually a plus and a minus because we're back to, for the last couple years, it's actually been busier because people didn't travel so much. And so then we had this huge influx. The first year, because after COVID, the first year was because people couldn't travel internationally, so everyone traveled locally. And then the second year we did really well. This year's a little bit more it's getting back to the pre-COVID days where June's a little slower, and it's actually fine. You know, our numbers are still fine, but it's getting back to the old patterns of, you know, June's a little quiet, and then it'll pick up in July, and later in July it'll get quiet, and then it picks up in August. You know, and so we're just, you know, it just feels like it felt like in 2018 and 19 right now.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it's
Well, you know, we'll be down there for Carnival. We'll get tickets for your show, and we can't wait to see you, go out and have a drink with you, and talk to
We
Lewis
always
as
have
well.
fun. I know. And this year we're gonna have to like schedule a lunch, because we used to do a lunch when we did the drag brunch, but I handed that off to somebody else, some other younger queen who's gonna do a great job at it. In fact,
Yes.
I may just go and enjoy the brunch and not have to perform at it. But so we're gonna have to figure out a time to get together as our ladies.
Now, is my boyfriend Larry going to be there during Carnival?
You know, your boyfriend Larry, yes, the last part of the week. He has
Okay.
confirmed, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
I'll be there waiting.
Yeah. Don't worry. He'll be here, and you'll know he's here because he's very popular. He makes the rounds. So
Yes, he does.
I am so glad you guys come every year. That's wonderful. And we have a whole bunch of people that they pick a week that they really like. Sometimes
Yep.
people don't like the busyness of Carnival. You know, September is really beautiful, very pretty. I'm still performing till the middle of September. So it's you know, there's just lots of times to come. If you don't want the crowds, come in the off season.
Well, I don't want to wish the summer away, but I can't wait to see you. So, Miss Richfield,
I
thank
know.
you so much for talking to us.
Well, thank you for all you do, kiddo. It's great seeing my love to Lucy Bell.
Yes,
Mwah.
we'll do. Mwah. Thank you. I love Miss Richfield. Now it's time for this week's Altar-Cations. Altar-Cations is our weekly report in response to those who say it's the drag queens grooming and molesting children. Who is really putting children in danger? How about James Garisto, a former Staten Island priest already accused in a lawsuit of sexually abusing a minor in New York, pleaded no contest to several charges in Pennsylvania in connection with abuse allegations more than a decade ago. Father Garisto, the former principal and academic dean of St. Joseph by the Sea High School, is scheduled for sentencing on September 7th. We'll follow up on that. Jared Mills, a pastor of the Clinton Flats Church in Mahoning County, Ohio, was found guilty of attempted unlawful sexual conduct with a minor, importuning or soliciting of an adolescent, possessing criminal tools, and displaying matter harmful to juveniles. And then there's Michael Spiro, pastor and co-founder of the North Clackamas Bible Community in Oregon, who was sentenced to 160 months in prison after being found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree unlawful sexual penetration. It's the third time since 2015 that Spiro has been tried for sexual abuse. Spiro repeatedly sexually abused 7 girls at the church he pastored from 1988 to 1996. I'm sure those young girls would have rather gladly attended a drag queen story hour. And that's this week's Altar-Cations. We have another returning guest, Miss Conception, and she's been doing a lot this past year, and she's going to be the hardest working drag queen in Provincetown this year. But first, let's watch this clip.
Thank you so much. My name is Miss Conception. Let the music play till the end. Come on. Never gonna not dance. Like smiling mentals.
Miss Conception, come on in.
Hey,
You look.
honey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. You look great. All right.
Thank you.
Since we last talked to you, you've been all over the world. Tell us about your adventures.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Since I know, I feel like we have to catch up. I haven't seen you since last year.
Yes.
My adventures. Well, we've been working with Brand G Vacations, which is my touring company that I work for, and we go on cruises around the world and stuff. And we did, my goodness, we did the Panama Canal from Panama to Aruba, and then we did. Oh my gosh, I've done Puerto Vallarta. I always spend my winters there. We did. God, we're doing Morocco to Canary Islands very soon, which I'm
Weren't
so
you in
excited about.
Austria? The Sound of Music. I think I
Yes,
saw-
God, we did the Christmas market cruise. We did the Sound of Music tour in Salzburg, Austria, and that was a freaking hoot, especially with the goat. I love seeing people's faces when I'm walking through that town at 10 a.m. in the morning with a drag queen.
Just going home. Walk of shame.
Right,
Been there.
basically.
All right. So what are you doing in Provincetown this year? I've seen a couple different advertisements that you're just everywhere.
I know, right? I know. I don't know what I'm doing. I just thought, I'm still young. Why not just take it all over, right? So in Provincetown this season, I'm doing my brand new show called Misconceptions Tuned Out, written by myself and Jacques Lamar, who's a fabulous writer for Varla Jean Merman. And I'm so grateful that they came on board to help me out with this new show. And it's all about, taking you back to your younger years of when you sat in front of the TV and you were tuned out for hours while your parents went off to the swingers party. And it is such a great show with the Flintstones and Scooby-Doo and She-Ra and He-Man. It's got Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit in it. It's got Rainbow Bright, as I'm dressed as Rainbow Bright. It's got so many great iconic cartoons that you can come and see. And I'm running till September 23rd in Provincetown. But I've also decided I was going to do brunches because everyone in Provincetown is doing a brunch. So I thought, well, I'm going to do Misconceptions brunch on Sundays at the Pilgrim House at 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. And we're going to do 2 seatings, and it's going to be a variety show of stuff I've done over the years. It's going to be a collaboration of everything. It's just going to be a really fun time with mimosas and a Bloody Mary bar as well. And then I also took on the Mayflower Trolley now. So I know, it's crazy. So every single Thursday, Misconception is the new host of the Mayflower Trolley. And I will be doing an LGBTQ excursion where you can bring your own booze on the trolley from 3:30 to 4:30 every single Thursday, and we're going to drop you off at Tea Dance just before at 4:30. So it's called the pre-tea trolley with Misconception, and it's going to be a hoot. You're going to hear all the gay history of the town, and then you're going to see me perform on the trolley as well.
Now that Thursday, that's parade day during Carnival Week. Will you be doing it then?
No, probably not. Probably not.
Shoot.
I wonder if we should actually address that and get them to move it to the Wednesday before, because
Yes, you
no,
should.
I'm gonna be in the parade. I'm actually might be in the parade with Coast Provincetown and the trolley.
No, change that because I want to go on that trolley tour with you.
Okay, I'll talk to them. I think we should do it on the Wednesday, absolutely, or the Friday.
All right. So okay, let's go back to your show. Now you are known for costume changes during your show. How many costume changes are you doing?
So in this show, I'm doing 10 costume changes right before your eyes. So I never leave the stage in 1 hour. As you know, you've seen the shows before.
Yes.
And I do all the costumes. So this is a little different this year because normally we layer all 9 costumes and then we pull one on. But with the size of the costumes this year, I'm only wearing 7 of them and I'm pulling on 3 because obviously Jessica Rabbit, honey, you can't layer Jessica Rabbit. She has to have big, beautiful knockers out to here, tiny little waist, and a big padunkadunk like the Kardashians. But at least she has a personality.
Exactly. And you sing so well. What songs will you be singing?
So in this show, yes, it's all live singing. And in this show, I do Rainbow Bright. I do Never Not Gonna Dance Again by Pink to close the show on roller skates with giant blow-up unicorns. Woo! And in the show, goodness gracious, let's see. Velma from Scooby-Doo, she sings Hound Dog by Elvis Presley, and then she goes into the Venga bus as the Mystery Machine comes out on stage. I open the show as Jessie from Toy Story, and she sings Cowboy Sweetheart by Leanne Rimes. Goodness gracious, what else do we have? We have Inspector Gadget that sings Don me arigato, Mr. Roboto. Don me arigato, Mr. It's so ridiculous. It's so fun. There's current music, there's older music, there's a whole lip sync for your life thing that Jessica Rabbit does as well from RuPaul's. It's really crazy and campy.
Now, do you have a conga line? Last year you had a conga line during your show.
Yes, that was fun. No, I do not have a conga line, but I have audience participation in this show. Though I dress people up on stage and they become part of my cartoons. I don't want to give it away, but I have audience participation. So if anyone's coming for a birthday, anniversary, bachelorette, or like that, I'll usually pick someone and get them on stage with me and dress them up in the costumes. And we do this whole dance number, and it's so fun. And so this show, you know, it just brings you back to being a kid. You know, I'm a kid. I'm a person that never grew up. I still watch cartoons to this day. Right? We all do. And I think it's important because, and the way the show is named, Tuned Out, is we were tuned out as a child. Your parents were trying to get your attention, and we were just like glued to the TV screen, you know, tuned out. So it's so fun, and it runs Wednesday to Sundays here at the Pilgrim House.
What time is your show?
7:30 p.m. So you got to plan your dinners before or after. So 7:30 1-hour shows in Provincetown, and tickets are $35 for general and $45 for VIP. And it's really running very fun. And if you just want a good giggle and a laugh and to take away all your troubles, this is the show to come see.
How many years have you been performing in Ptown?
So I've been performing in Provincetown for 5 years now. This is my 5th season. I know, it's gone so fast. I'm celebrating 23 years performing as Misconception. And I'll be performing my 13th season in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. So it's been a journey, and it is a great journey. And, you know, like I say, I owe it to Varla Jean Merman for making me come to Provincetown and getting me the first job with Marcatelli. So I'm so happy to be here at the Pilgrim House with, of course, our favorite, Miss Richfield, 1981.
Yes, who we talked to earlier in the show. Yes.
Yes.
I see on Facebook that you've been out watching other shows there in Provincetown. Tell us about some of those.
Oh my gosh, there's so many great shows happening in town right now. There is like 19 shows a night right now. So I went and saw the Anita Cocktail Variety Hour, which was absolutely fantastic. It's always a great time at the post office. Edie's show, of course, Edie from Las Vegas, who is in Zoomanity, her show. And Sharks Creek is back, but it's called Sharks Creek 2.0. And it is my friend Jamie Morris's play, and it's a parody on Sharks Creek, and that's at the post office. We do have, like I said, Miss Richfield 1981 here at the Pilgrim House. We have Latrice Royale coming in from RuPaul's Drag Race. And then we went and saw the Divas show at the wonderful Crown and Anchor, which is Delta Miles, Kaya Christelle, and Roxy Pops. All live singing incredible diva songs. And we went and saw Tina Burner from RuPaul's Drag Race at the Crown and Anchor. Great show. And of course, Varla Jean Merman, you can't go wrong. She's hilarious and amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, I've been trying to see all these different shows because, you know, like yourself, I love seeing shows and supporting the arts.
That's it. Okay, great show there at the Pilgrim House. Now, the brunch. We went to the brunch last year at the Pilgrim House, had a great time. The food was excellent. And so I'm curious how you're going to adapt that. Are you, is it just you, or do you have other performers in your brunch show?
No, it's going to be my one-woman show. It's going to be my one-woman show. It's going to be incredible. I'm going to do 10 costume changes on stage before your eyes, all live singing. I'm going to adapt it to a fun brunch. We got all upbeat music. We got disco music. We even got a Tina Turner song in there. We've got Carmen Miranda. I've just got this great, loud, fun show that everyone's just going to completely go nuts. Of course, we have the all-you-can-eat buffet that is incredible. They might even have a carving station this year. I know they have a Bloody Mary bar where you can mix your own Bloody Marys. Of course, mimosas as well. So it's a really fun brunch. I'm not used to doing brunches because I sometimes don't believe that drag queens should be seen in the daylight. But but I'm really excited about doing this new adventure and giving one hell of a show that people are going to be completely blown away with.
that there was one state, I forget which one it was, that was wanted to pass a law that there could be no drag performance before noon or after midnight. And I said, that's okay by me.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, it's crazy our world, isn't it?
And the trolley, that's totally cool. And that's brand new to Provincetown. How did that come about?
It's funny because we had talked about this a couple of years ago, and this kind of got lost in translation and stuff like that. And then at the beginning of the year, in Puerto Vallarta, actually, I met this wonderful person named Kathy, who is a lesbian, and she met me in Puerto Vallarta, and she said, oh my god, we'd love to have you. And so when I got here, we went on a trolley, and they loved it, and they said, this would be really great, what do you think? And I said, I think this would be so much fun, something different. The 3:30 trolley doesn't get a lot of people, so, and it's before tea, so it's perfect, from 3:30 till 4:30, and then we drop you right off at tea dance at like 4:40, which is great. I perform some performances on the trolley as well, sing some songs, tell you some of the LGBTQ history here of Provincetown, and I'm so grateful. It's because of Kathy and everyone on the trolley. The driver named Evan, he's very handsome. He'll be with us as well, and he's a gay man too. So it's just gonna be really fun, and the fact that you can bring your own booze, or you can bring non-alcoholic cocktails. It doesn't matter. It is gonna be 21 plus for that. And it's just gonna be fun, singing songs. I rewrote the words to Hello Dolly. I wrote the words to Hello Trolley. Hello Trolley. Well, hello Trolley. So it's gonna be really fun and something different, and it's kind of like a party bus during the day.
How much does it cost?
I believe it's $15 or $20. Don't correct me on that. Yes, I believe it's.
Oh, there's a fee. There's a fee involved. There's a fee involved. There's always a fee involved.
Yeah, I mean, these people work really hard to show you these tours in town, and so now it's gonna become like a fun. I thought, the National Seashore, we could do a number driving along the National Seashore, singing songs and jumping up and down the aisles, and I just think it would be just hilarious.
Yeah. Well, we'll be down there for Carnival Week, so you really need to change that a day so we can see that. Because
yes, I will address that because they probably don't realize that the carnival is on the Thursday, so we're gonna have to change that.
Yes. Okay. So after September, you're done with Provincetown, which you deserve a couple of months rest after all those shows and performances and appearances. But what do you have on your schedule?
Right now, I leave. My last show is September 23rd in Provincetown, and then I fly out on September 30th to London, England, with my partner, where we will go and visit his gay uncles, for about 5 days, and then we join Brand G Vacations, and we're going to Morocco to Canary Islands, and that's brandgvacations.com. That's my fabulous tour company that I work for, and we'll be doing Morocco to Canary Islands, and then after that, I'll fly home to Toronto. I have to renew my passport, and then I fly and open up my shows on the 21st of November in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Oh, wow. Now, when you started 23 years ago, did you envision any of that?
None whatsoever. I didn't even think I was going to make a career out of drag. I started doing drag for fun, and I entered some contests in Toronto and won $100 here, $100 there, and stuff like that. I also waited at a restaurant called Zelda's Restaurant, which was a kind of like a lips place, and I have to tell you, it changed my life, being there, entering these pageants in Toronto, and then working in drag at this restaurant, and then starting to realize that you could really make a career out of this. And then hearing about people like Miss Richfield and Varla Jean Merman and Coco Peru and Jackie Beat and Sherry Vine and all these iconic queens, I said, wow, they're making a career out of this, this living, this life, not lifestyle, but I don't live this way, but it's amazing, and I couldn't believe it, and it was my ex that said to me, he goes, you really have to think about this, you really have to, I believe you have what it takes. And so helping people out, getting help by people like Varla and Miss Richfield, like that, connections have always helped us. And then, you know, I was really lucky and very blessed. Not everyone gets a chance to get in the door, and I got into the door in Puerto Vallarta and then met the right people. And you know, I work hard, and I think it's very important to write a new show every year and make people smile and laugh all the time. You know, I don't want to do a show that makes people sad. I want to make people happy, you know. And so I think that I was very lucky, and I'm going to continue to make them proud. I don't want, you know, people to be like, oh, we shouldn't have brought her to Provincetown, you know, like. So I'm very lucky that it happened that way. Very blessed.
No, you're a toilet. You're a fixture, like a toilet there in Provincetown.
Oh yeah.
So
I am. I'm that's my goal is to become like Varley and Richfield, where, you know, people, that's where they talk about, you know, because every time you come to Provincetown, it's Varley G. Merman, Miss Richfield, Dina Martina. Those are the queens. Those are the legends that paved the way for people like me to come in.
That's great. And you're so appreciative. You're so talented, and you are a hard worker. Miss Conception, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I can't wait to see you multiple times during Carnival Week, and good luck to you on your future adventures. All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to be busy just watching her this summer. Russell, come on in.
Hey, oh my goodness. Two great guests so far, and we still have more to come.
Oh, I know. And we go see them every year. You know, they're old friends, they're good friends, and they're very talented people as well.
And so funny.
All right. Give a reminder to what's coming up, Russell.
Well, we have an incredible interview with Ginger Minj that she's talking about what she's doing. She's talking a little bit about Drag Race, maybe throwing some shade around about that. We'll find out. And she's talking about what she's got coming up in the future, including a book. Amazing.
And one more shout out to the Bustiers.
Yes, the Bustiers. Thank you all to our Bustiers. You do really help us, and it's important that you continue to give. Use that Venmo at RJD Pro, or go to amberlive.tv and just look for the donate button, and you can become a Bustier and help keep Amber streaming every Sunday.
And now let's talk to Ginger Minj. Our next guest is Ginger Minj. You might recall Ginger was on the show a few weeks ago talking about her show, The Golden Gals, and she's alumni of RuPaul's Drag Race and RuPaul's All-Star Drag Race. We're going to talk a lot about that, but she's really here tonight to talk about what she's doing this summer in Provincetown. Ginger, come on in.
I ran all the way from the beach.
Oh gosh, I'm getting flashbacks of Baywatch.
Yes. I'm more of the buoy that was always kind of the safety buoy out in the water.
Oh, Ginger, so good to see you again. So tell us, how did the Golden Gals go?
Amazing. Chicago was just like this fever dream. It all happened so fast, but it felt like it went on forever. And then the second our plane touched down in Orlando after that run, we got an email saying, hey, would you mind coming back to Chicago in a couple of weeks to headline the Golden Girls convention that we do here? So I wrote, literally, I'm in the Uber with the girls on the way home, like, what plot points do we want to hit? Da, 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 da. I wrote overnight a show that was specifically for the Golden Girls convention. Went incredibly well. We had Mark Sotkin, who was head writer and showrunner for years and years. A lot of the creators of the show who collaborated with us because they were so impressed by what we did. And they were like, you've got 99% of this right. Let us help you with that other 1%. And it really like just kind of made the rest of our run over the next couple months absolutely spectacular. Those little bits and pieces from the people who were actually there in the room. And it was also really nice to hear from them how much they appreciated what we do.
How many people were at that convention?
I believe the last I heard it was about 2,000 people. Which in every single one of them, it was hard to get a real count as they were walking by, because every time they walked by, they were in a brand new costume. And I was like, you have more costume changes than we do, and we're the entertainment. But they were just spectacular. Everybody was there because they loved this one thing. And the camaraderie in that hotel that entire weekend was unrivaled in my entire career.
That's great. Now, what other cities did you tour the show?
So we ended up going to a couple of different places. We just closed our 7-month run in Atlanta this past week. We had 2 weeks in Atlanta, sellout success, standing ovations every night, some of the best audiences I've ever performed for. And we took it to Claremont, Florida. It's like a homecoming for us. We actually did a retirement community tour in South Florida, where we didn't know how we were going to be embraced by these people, if we were going to be embraced at all, because of everything politically that's kind of going on in Florida right now kind of stems from that area. So we were like, oh, it's a gaggle of gays coming to invade the retirement community. They ate it up. They loved us, and we had a great time. Like everywhere we went, there's just something about the Golden Girls that makes people want to love. And we felt that love at every place.
Now, in any of those cities that you were in or places, did you feel any backlash or did you hear of any backlash?
The only place that we had any kind of reservation about was going to South Florida. And, you know, in Florida in general, because even though Claremont is so close to Orlando, it's in Lake County where I grew up. I know that we have a big fan base there, but I was also very concerned about how conservative it is and has always been. And, you know, as soon as those things start rumbling through the community, you never know who's going to show up, what they're going to say, or what they're going to do. So they were very kind to us. They made sure that we had police at every single performance. We had security there. But it turned out we didn't need it because those people just wanted to come and laugh and have a good time.
Oh, how nice. How nice. All right. So you're headed to Provincetown. What are you going to do there?
Well, I'm going to do everything in Provincetown. From one end of Commercial Street to the next. It's my 3rd year there in a row. The first 2 years were sellout successes. And like the first year that I went in, I had been filming the Drag Race Christmas movie, The Bitch Who Stole Christmas. And my scenes kept getting delayed and delayed. I literally drove up to the theater, got out of the car, never having been in Provincetown before, with 20 minutes to get into drag and hit the stage. No rehearsal, nothing. And I was panicked. I was like, you know, I know I can pull off a show. I can pull a show right from underneath my skirt if I have to. But in a place where I've never been that is so historic for drag performers, I was so nervous. And I was met with so much love and joy and compassion from all of these people. We had a great time. And then the next thing I know, the buzz is building and building and building, and we're sold out every single night. And everything that I had been told from the other girls that had worked at Ptown before were like, it's a great gig, but you're going to be hot and sweaty and tired because you're going to have to go out there and bark. You're going to have to get these people to come see the show. Knock on wood, everything. I have never had to bark because it's just like we're in a perfect location where people see us and they want to come to the show and they want to have a good time. We've got a great time slot, and our show always closes out the night at the Art House, which is one of the most beautiful venues there. And I'm planning all of them at this point just to see, like, support my sisters and see other shows. But there's something so spectacular about that venue, and it's right down the block from Tea Dance. So it's a perfect opportunity for them to go eat dinner, go have a little party, and then come over and have a spectacular show.
What days are you going to be there?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every week at 9:30 p.m. at the Art House. Oh, there's the information right there. And for the 2nd year in a row, I'm bringing my best friend, GADGET Galore, who plays Rose in all of our Golden Gal shows. And this year, it is a Broadway tour de force. We're doing, let me see if I can remember all this. We have 24 musical numbers, 18 costume changes, like big Broadway costume changes, plus dramatic scene. Well, I say dramatic scenes. They're really ridiculous and over the top, but it's just so funny. And it's something that I think you would only get if you have that Ptown summertime sensibility, you just want to go unwind and laugh and listen to things that you know, sing along, clap along, dance along. And our favorite thing to do, of course, is audience participation. So we're giving out lots and lots of prizes this year. It's unlike any other show you're going to get throughout all of Ptown. And I know that because I've seen them all.
Oh, I can't wait. We'll be down there during Carnival Week, and we'll make sure that your show is one of those that we see.
Please do. And like I said, it's a great nightcap. It's the last show in town every night that it performs. So you can go see everybody else. You can have your dinner. You can party. You can have a good time. And then just come relax with us for an hour and laugh, 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 laugh.
What do you like to do in Provincetown when you're not on stage?
The food is unrivaled. Everything is so fresh and it's so delicious. And there's so much variety. I was very concerned when I first started going there because I'm allergic to iodine. I can't have any type of seafood. And it's a beach town, you know? And they were like, oh my gosh, the best lobster rolls in the world, the best crabs, the best this. And I'm like, I can't have any of it. But then I started noticing like the best burgers I've ever had are in Ptown. The best chicken tenders I've ever had are in Ptown. And it's something that's so like trivial, I guess. You know, like, oh, it's a chicken tender, girl. How can you mess it up? You can mess it up. Everything is just so fresh, and every restaurant just takes so much care with their menu. I love it. And of course, I'm gonna party. I'm gonna eat the fudge. I'm gonna eat the saltwater cafe. And I'm gonna spend way too much money on alcohol.
Yes, it's easy to do. You know, I don't see much chicken there during Carnival Week. I don't know why.
They're there a few weeks before.
I think so. Well, that just sounds great. And I can't wait to see your show. So you were on RuPaul's Drag Race season 7. And then you were also in the All-Stars 2 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going on so far in All-Stars?
Oh, I should have brought my reading glasses for this. This season of All-Stars has been the most dramatic thing I think I have seen in years. There's so many tears. Like there were a lot of tears on every season that I participated in, mostly from me in the hotel room, just sobbing. But I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to process a lot of what's happened because it feels like there's a lot and it's happening quickly.
Yeah.
And it feels like every week there's a brand new, giant, dramatic plot line dropped into play. I love these girls and I talk to them all the time and they want to ask me, like, what do I think? I'm like, I don't know what to think. I really don't. It's been a ride. I have loved watching this season, but it has been so different than any recent season, particularly of All-Stars. Like All-Star 6 was a big love fest. You know, it was the height of the pandemic. So we were just really happy to be in a room with like-minded people. We were happy to have the opportunity to perform. We were just happy to be out of our houses and doing drag. And I think that translated. And then, of course, you get to All-Star 7, which is the all-winners All-Stars, and nobody went home. So it felt like the dramatic stakes were lower and people could just be themselves and have a good time. And then you get to All-Stars 8, and it's super cutthroat. I don't know how I would have fared in a season like this.
I liked 7 when they all stayed. I thought you could build up and yet they could really, you said relax, but also show off more. And I really liked that because the pressure was off.
I feel like with All-Stars in particular, like you go into the season already knowing these girls, at least a little bit. You know them, you love them, you have a connection, and you want to see what they have to offer. You want to see what they do well, if they've improved in things they didn't do well before, or are they going to be able to live up to the hype of the things they excelled at? And I think it was really nice to be able to watch All-Star 7 and see people, you know, one person didn't do well one week, but then they could come back when they would have been eliminated the week before and really knock it out of the park. That's the really exciting thing about that format. And I hope going forward, I mean, I don't know. They don't listen to me. They don't ask my opinion. But I always hope going forward that they'll kind of adopt that format and run with it because I think it's more fun to watch.
Now, when they choose who goes home, I'm a competitor.
Mhm.
And if I have a chance to send someone better than me home or someone who I think might beat me, I'm going to send them home. But that doesn't seem to be the case in some weeks. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it's easy to sit back and say that because I thought that way on All Stars 2. And of course, on All Stars 2, I never got the opportunity to have really much say in who went or stayed, whatever. So going into All Star 6, I was like, I'm going to send everybody home that I can. I'm going to get that crown. I'm going to stay as long as I can. And then you get in the room and you realize that as important as it is to you, it's just as important to every person in that room. And you've got this built-in relationship because you travel with these girls. You love them, you know them, and you don't want to be the person who stops their journey short when it's something that they don't deserve. So even though I went into All Star 6 with the mindset of getting rid of the strongest competition, I had to stop and go, no, because that was done to me on All Stars 2. Not saying I was the strongest competition, but in a week where I was told in critiques that I should be on Broadway, I deserve my own one woman show. My performance was spectacular, and I ended up in the bottom, which a lot of people felt was unfairly. I don't know because I'm so attached to the situation. I can't look at it objectively, but a lot of people felt I got a raw deal on that. And I said, well, do you want to be that person that gives somebody else the raw deal? So I had to really stop and go, all right, she does deserve to be here. I'm just going to go based on judges' critiques and play fairly. And it's not something I ever plan to do.
Very interesting. So, who's your favorite? Who's left of All Stars 8, and who do you think's going to be there in the finals?
I have loved Jessica Wilde from her first season. I met her before I was ever even thinking about auditioning for Drag Race, and she's always been so kind to me. So I'm really happy to see her doing well. I would love to see her in the finale. You know, we're down to 4 now. And I think that all of them really deserve their place in the competition. I don't love the way that Alexis Michelle has been playing. I don't love the way that Candy has been playing.
I agree.
But that's not for me to say because it's their game. They're playing it how they see fit. So I think that they do deserve their place in the finale for playing a smart game. But I really think if it comes down to if I could choose the winner, I would choose between Jessica Wilde and Jimbo for sure.
Those are my favorites as well. Jimbo is just outrageous. Just outrageous.
Outrageous, just a nut. So much fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And even though I've never really had much personal experience with her, I have always heard that she is very kind, that she I want to say play a fair game, but take the game aspect out of it, but that she is a very fair person, which I've always kind of strived to be. You know, I don't ever have to be the nicest person, but I always want to be a very fair person and give people their dues when they deserve them. So I respect that in a competitor. And I feel like her and Jessica have played a great game this whole season. And I'm certainly rooting for both of them. And they would be my picks, I think, at this point.
Mine too. And because both of them are having fun.
Yes.
You can tell they're both having fun. Jessica gets nervous.
I just said, strike everything. And just say, I'm rooting for them because they are the two that seem, the 2 of the 4 that are left, that seem to just be enjoying the experience. And that's what drag is. It's what Drag Race is. It's just this big, enjoyable ball of love. And I think that they're both representing that really well.
Very good. You've got good taste there. Very good.
Right.
All right. You're in Provincetown through the 1st of September. What happens then?
So as soon as Provincetown is over, I go on the Work the World. No, I go to Australia first. I'm doing the Queens of Comedy tour in Australia, which I'm excited about. It's a tour I got to do right before the pandemic, so like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. I love Australia. I love the people there. I always said if I ever go back for Drag Race, I just hope it's like Down Under versus the World or something, because I love all those girls. I would love to participate in something like that. I also feel like Australian drag, like Australian, New Zealand drag, it's just so campy and kitsch and very me. So I'm excited to be over there. And then after that, I get to go.
Well, who's going to be on the tour with you?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I know Candy's going to be there, which I'm excited about because I've never really gotten to work with her before. And she is very funny. Cracker's going to be there. And Miss Cracker and I are actually, we've gotten very close over the last couple years because we've been booked to do a lot of the same things. We have the same kind of sensibility. So I'm excited to tour with her. We just did a cruise together. She's going to be the 7 p.m. slot at Art House all summer long. So it's the first summer that I've been there that I get to actually share the venue with the Drag Race sister. And I'm glad it's her because I really like her. And there's a whole plethora of girls. I'd have to look at the poster to give you the full rundown. And then after that, I get to go co-host Work the World in Europe and Mexico. And then after that, it's full steam ahead for my book. My book gets released on November 7th. It's already reached #1 on Amazon. It's doing really well in pre-sales. So if anybody's listening out there, the pre-sales do help me and you. So go and get it now. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, just wherever you get it, just get it. But we're going to be doing the whole big press tour for the book the week before and then a couple of weeks after the release on November 7th. So that's going to take me into the holidays.
Give me the cliff notes about your book.
I always say it is part cookbook, part memoir, part tell-all. And everything in the book, from the meatloaf to the gossip, is juicy. There are no holds barred. I feel like, particularly with the political climate today, I think a lot of the arguments that happen online, in person, regarding drag artists or about them or to them or whatever, it all comes from a place of not understanding who we are. Or why we are, or why we do what we do. So sitting down to write this book, it was very important for me to share it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, and there's a lot of ugly in there. But I also feel like when you can read a story, whether you are part of the LGBTQIA+ community, whether you're a fan of drag or not, there's something in there that you can relate to. There's something in there that's going to show you that we have a lot more in common than we don't. And I've been encouraging people, buy a copy for yourself. If you're a fan, I would love for you to have this book, because I think if you know something, if you think you know me, you're going to learn so much more. But also buy a copy and send it to somebody who doesn't know me, who doesn't want to know me. Send it to your racist Aunt Helen. Send it to your bigoted cousin down the street. Send it and get it into the hands of people who can read the story and learn something from it, because I think that's the easiest way and the most effective way of changing minds and making things better for everybody. Once you point out the similarities instead of focusing on the differences. And my life, it's like a Lifetime movie of the week. I grew up in not great circumstances. I fought really hard to be where I am today and to have these opportunities. And I've done it all with love and gratitude, because I feel like it gets you further in the world. And then the cookbook aspect just comes because obviously food is my love language. And my grandmother always had this saying, every time people were picking on me, she would say, come and help me. Come and help me in the kitchen. Come help me. So I'd go and I'd help her cook. And she'd always tell me, remember, if you keep their mouth full of food, full of love, they don't have the time to spit out the hate. So if you cook with love and you treat them with love, they're going to take that in and they're going to treat you better because of it. They're not going to have the time to be an asshole. And that's kind of the through line of the book is my grandmother and her advice and her recipes. And the
Well, thank you, Grandma. Thank you. All right, let's give one more plug for your show this summer in Provincetown.
It is called The Broadsway. We are at the Art House in Ptown, and every night we are at 9:30 p.m. It's hysterical. It is the best show that I've done in Ptown. An hour long, and we've got all like over 20, like I think it's like 24, 25 songs. All these costume changes. It's spectacular. It's a laugh a minute, not even a laugh a minute, laugh a second, and you'll have a really good time.
Great. Can't wait to see it Carnival Week. Thank you so much, Ginger. And come back in November to tell us more about your book.
I would love to. And it's called Southern Fried Sass for anybody who wants to go look it up. Southern Fried Sass by Ginger Minj.
I love it. Safe travels to Provincetown and see you then.
Thanks.
Fascinating. Just fascinating. And what else is fascinating? Wondering what Rocco's going to bring us this week. What you got?
Hey, this is Rocco Zamboni. I just coming here from work. Yeah, you know what I'm doing. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about Independence Day. That's right, the day you get to be independent from stuff. Some people say, we're independent from Britain and shit. Hey, look, there's somebody who's very independent. I like that lady. She's pretty hot. Whatever she said. I don't know what the hell she said. But Independence Day is not just about freedom from those goddamn British bastards. It's also about being free to do all sorts of stuff. Like you want to quit your job, you say, this job blows, I'm out of here. It's that easy. Because we're Americans. We're independent. You don't like what you're doing, you're independent, you're free. Go do something else, all right? I don't care what you do. This is America, bitch. Right, this is Rocco saying, Happy 4th of July. Go eat a hot dog or something. Bye.
Thank you, Rocco. I think. And now it's time for this week's rant. Last month, the Rancho Penasquitos Library in Southern California had a display of books celebrating Pride. Protesters proceeded to check out nearly all of the books in the display and vowed to keep them until the library eliminates what they call inappropriate content for children. The protesters, residents of the town, said libraries are open, public spaces for children, and they should be free of references to gender identity and how adults experience sexual attraction. Head librarian Misty Jones was quoted as saying, displays such as this send a powerful message that LGBTQ plus patrons and their allies are respected members of our community. They also serve to encourage conversations and dispel misconceptions and stereotypes that often surround that community. Exactly. Since the protesters have admitted taking the books and don't plan on returning them, they should be charged and arrested for theft. Going unpunished sends a message to others with similar beliefs to act out, which could lead to even more violent acts. And that's this week's rant. I'd like to thank my dear friends, Miss Richfield, Ginger Minj, and Misconception for talking to me tonight, as well as Rocco and Russell for their contributions. If you enjoyed tonight's show, feel free to show some love by becoming a bustier. See you next week.
Did you hear that nowadays people are banning books and censoring drag queens?
That's stupid. What's wrong with drag queens?
I ask you that same question every week after Amber Live.
I don't think anyone is ever going to know what's wrong with Amber.